Hi, my name is Mike Moss, and this video is about installing Git for Windows. So one of the first things we need to do is plan out whether or not we need 32 or 64-bit. And simply it's just a matter of installing Git. Now we have two different versions of Git. One is the regular Git that you get from the Git site, and the other is Cygwin. We'll be going through both. Okay, so the first thing we're going to have to do is determine whether or not we need 32 or 64-bit tools. And to do that, we're going to have to see which version of Windows you happen to be running. So to do that, at least in Windows 8, there's an easy way of just going to the System off the Control menu here, the Power menu. And you can see right here, the system type 64-bit operating system. That tells us that we need 64-bit tools if we can get them. It's okay to use 32-bit tools, but it's just better to use 64-bit because it matches your operating system. If you can get to the control panel on Windows 7 or even Windows 8, you can still get to it through the System Security and System. Okay, so now let's talk about the first way you can get Git, and that's from the official git-scm.com website. And you can just simply go here and run the installer that you get from there. So if we just bring up Internet Explorer, go to git-scm.com, we can see that the latest version is 1.8.4 and just download that. We can trust this site, so I'm not going to save it or anything. I'm just going to run it straight from the site. Pass the UAC, and then let's just step through the wizard. Agree to license, that's fine. If you want, you can toy around with how you want it to integrate. Sometimes I like just having just the Git bash shell show up when I right click on Windows Explorer somewhere, but I'm just going to leave it for default for now. It's fine. I also prefer to have it available from the command prompt so I can run it from the normal command prompt. So I'm going to click next after checking that. Windows style, but converting them into Unix style is fine for the default. And let's install it here. Okay, all right, so we're done here. I don't really care about the release notes, so we're gonna finish that. And as it finishes up here, okay, so if we open up our start menu and we go to our applications, we'll see that we've installed the Git Bourne Again shell, the Git Bash, and a Git GUI. If we can add this, like for example, if we wanted to add this to our taskbar so it's easier to use, that's fine. I'm just going to launch it. And we can see that we've got Git installed. So if we type Git, sure enough, it works. So that's 1.8.4 that we have installed there. All right, a second popular way to install Git is actually through Cygwin. Cygwin's a series of Linux-like tools for Windows. So if you've used Linux environments and want to have things like ls or other Linux command, this is definitely for you. So we go to cygwin.com, C-Y-G-W-I-N, and it's that Linux feeling on Windows. And all we need to do is go up to the install Cygwin link here. And this is why we needed to know 32-bit or 64-bit. So x86 is 32-bit, and x86_64 is a 64-bit Windows package. So we want to grab that. And again, I'm just going to run it straight from here. Pass through user authentication control. Let's just install from the internet. It needs to be in a path without any spaces, so we're going to leave that. That's fine. It's just a temporary directory. And there we go. So what I'm going to do here is select one of these mirrors. If you spot one that's close to you, select that one, but that should be fine. Okay. So that was pretty quick, at least to get it up and running. Now what we need to do is select, we want to search for Git, and I happen to know that it's under the Devel platform. So if we go in here, we can see we want to click that skip button once, and it actually allows us to install the bin, the binary. We don't really care about the source directory, so we're just going to leave that unchecked. You could uninstall other things if you want. If you want to use Emacs, for example, you could get it via Cygwin as well. Okay, so this is pretty much all we need, at least for now. So let's just go ahead and move on. There's some dependencies that it'll automatically get for you, and then we're just going to have to wait for the download to finish. Once it's done, you can either add them to your desktop or your start menu if you want, and the application should be installed. So again, if we go back to the applications menu and off the start, we have Cygwin installed. If we click it, brings up a nice little shell for us, and we can type git, and similar to what we did before. One thing we may have noticed when we installed it is that the version is different. So in this case, for example, if you want to check the version, it's git -- version, and we're using 1.79. That's not 1.84, but anything usually over 1.7 is fine, at least at this point in time. Okay, so some resources. So obviously the Git documentation is a great place to go. There's a free pro Git book that's quite good. I also happen to like these other sites like Git Immersion and the Visual Git Reference, but feel free to look for your own resources. Thank you.